Okay, that won't happen again. Bum, 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 bum. What is up, you guys, and welcome to the Mind, Money, Muscle podcast. My name is Steve.
My name is Keith.
And we are here to help you improve your financial, physical, and mental health by cutting out your bullshit and getting real with your problems.
Absolutely. And before we get into today's episode, as per usual, if you find something valuable inside this episode, we made you laugh, we made you cry, you liked it in any sort of fashion, all we do is we ask that you share the show. Share it onto your Instagram story. Tag us at Mind, Money, Muscle Podcast on Instagram. Come to our page. Come continue the conversation with us. Argue with us, whatever you want to do. These are our opinions, our thoughts, our beliefs. If you love them, amazing. Let's talk about them. If not, talk with us also. We'd love to get in the DM. So without further ado, we're going to get into today's episode. And today we're going to be talking about a trick or a little bit of a hack to decrease that sense of overwhelm by about 48%. Steve, you want to take it away, my man?
Sure. Yeah, so we're going to start off with a story each. So when it comes to this hack, this sense of overwhelm, well, actually, Keith, you had a story.
Yeah.
Let's start off with story time with Keith. I need one of those like twinkling little rainbow kind of.
All right. So let's get into this episode. I'm going to use my phone a little bit here so that I can keep myself in the right place. So before we get on, My Money Muscle podcast, we've been talking about muscle and money quite a bit over the last little bit. We started off with a few controversial topics when it came to Bonnie Henry, PED usage, all of the shit in the past. But now I want to talk about a solid mindset style of topic. So let's kind of get into a story here. So we believe that a major sense of overwhelm comes from your inability to spend time with yourself. So as I go into this story, just bear with me here. When I was a kid, I was one of those kids who would always say yes. I would always go up to friends and be like, hey, do you want to hang out this weekend? I'd see another group of friends be like, oh, what are you up to this weekend? And then I have all these different friends ask me to hang out, and I'd always say yes to all of them because I wanted to hang out with everybody, right? Fast forward in my life, I always made sure that I was the one to like throw parties and shit because I loved having people together. It was like my favorite thing in the fucking world. Now, when I think about it, the one thing that I really struggled with as a kid was my ability to say no and be selfish with my time and doing the things that I wanted to do because I was such a yes man. And the thing that happened there was two things. People's ability to believe me and hold me to some things with integrity started to vanish. And I started to feel bad about myself because I would always spread myself so thin and I'd always spend time with everyone else. And I think I really struggled with just developing myself as a person, like as a teenager and in my early 20s, because I always wanted to escape this feeling of like me not making progress by always going out and doing fun shit, whether it be hanging out with friends at the mall or partying or whatever, because I couldn't spend that time with myself. And as we go through this, like, if you're listening to this podcast, you're most likely wanting more of yourself physically, financially, and spiritually. You even could be feeling like you're behind the eight ball. And I know that Steven and I have both felt this because I didn't really figure out what I wanted to do until I was 24 years old. I had a conversation with one of my friends from back home, Taylor, and he was talking with me, not understanding what he wanted to do with his life. He's gone through school and really just dug deep and talked about where he saw him like living his life in the future and how unhappy he was in Kelowna and how him finding a relationship with a girl is important to him because he wants to become a dad. And it made me really realize that like everyone figures this shit out at their own pace. But just like with intentionally spending the time to work on your finances or like training, spending time in the gym, you have to spend intentional time with yourself to find what it is that you want out of life. And this hack that we're talking about when it comes to feeling this sense of overwhelm, the hack is the ability to say no. And when we always say yes to things, or we're always trying to make up for making other people happy and we don't focus on ourselves, it's very hard for us to make other people happy to the fullest of our ability. because we're not able to fill up our own cup first, and we're always spending so much time trying to fill them up. An easy way to think about this is if you have a kid. If you have a kid, you have to spend an undeniable amount of time with that child to make sure it survives, it gets the life it deserves, it becomes healthy, it grows up a regular, amazing human life. But when you're not able to separate yourself from giving and giving and giving and giving and giving, and you spend no time on refilling back up your own mental energy, the amount that you're giving is coming out of a place of being tired, feeling exhausted, feeling overwhelmed, feeling like, fuck, I don't want to do this anymore. How much actual good energy do you believe is actually being poured into that child or into your relationships if you're not figuring out your own self on the back end? So as we go forward through this, like, you know, please just understand that if you feel this sense of overwhelm, it's really time to start being selfish with what you decide to do with your life. You know, I grew up being told I was going to be a nurse or a pharmacist or a lawyer or all of these different career paths that never really aligned with what I wanted to do. And though I didn't figure it out until I was 24 years old, the fact that I just bet on myself and said, this is what the fuck I'm going to do, and I went off and did it, what that's done for my own mental clarity and mental health is insane, because it made me start to believe in myself a lot more. But that all came from me saying, no, I'm not doing this. I'm doing something that I believe in, something that I love, and followed my heart to come into Victoria and starting this career.
Yeah, and you and that goes. I mean, sorry, yeah, I'm gonna cut this part out. I always stutter. I need to get as a side note, just because off the cuff, I need to remember to go over the podcast with you before we actually record, so that way we're both on the same page. Because I'm noticing I'm behind the 8 ball, and I'm trying to remember what we even talked about when I first fucking wrote it. So just as like a for next time.
Yeah. Go through this before we get it going.
So I'm not completely like trying to remember everything we thought of.
Yeah.
But so you just talked about that. I'll start with like, okay, if you're going to improve your life, you're going to need to change many, many habits. And a lot of your habits, like Keith was saying, are going to come from saying no to people. And a lot of your habits right now are yes habits. You're getting up in the morning and doing things for other people. You're going to social gatherings because you want them to see you in a certain way. You're going and purchasing different things because you want people to view you in another way. But the moment you get selfish, you're setting yourself up later in life to actually be selfless in a way. Because, you know, like, it's kind of weird to think about, you know, like how can you be selfless by being selfish? Let's put it this way. Like Keith was saying, when your cup is full and I don't need anything from you, whatever I give to you, I don't need anything in return. It's purely because I can and because I will, and I don't need anything and I want to. And that's the healthiest place, in my opinion, that we can possibly be when we're doing things for other people. So when we're saying being selfish now, it's take care of yourself to the best of your ability. Figure out your finances, figure out your physical health, figure out your mental health, fill your cup. This is going to take a lot of changes though with your habits. It's going to take a daily routine or a style of daily routine. It's going to take saying no to friends. It's going to say no to certain opportunities. It's going to be hard. And you may hate it along the way at certain points because you're going to be thinking about how nice it was to be able to go to the bar and drink a few drinks a couple nights a week and how much fun that was. But you need to be selfish if you're listening to this podcast, you already know you want more. And to get more, you need to be selfish as well.
Mm-hmm. You got to dive into uncomfortability, and it gets very uncomfortable and lonely when you start to say no to friends that you've always said yes to, or situations that you typically say yes to, but now you don't because you understand that working on yourself is more of the big picture thing than going out another night and creating the same blurry memories that you've always created. At the end of the day, the old saying stands true. Like, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and over again and expecting a different result. And if you're unhappy right now, the habits and the things that you do every day are the things that have led you into this place. And if you want to get out of that, your life's going to have to drastically change, whether that be a situation or a location that you live that coaxes that out of you, a relationship that you get into that really changes your perspective, a mentor that you end up hiring or you are mentoring under to really drive you into a newfound light and really being able to focus on yourself. Something major has to change. And, you know, we always talk about small, you know, start small, you know, small incremental changes to be able to achieve financial goals or like muscle building goals. But I'll be really honest, like when you make the decision to decide to be more selfish and working on yourself, and you see the impact that that has on you, it's pretty major. You can't just like, oh, I go out every weekend. Now I'm just going to go out every second weekend. Or, you know, I spend quite a bit of money on McDonald's and shit. Or now I spend quite a bit of money on restaurants and stuff. I'm going to cut that back by a little bit to work on my own mentality. For me, this is one of the things that are kind of that all or nothing moment. Like, it's one of those moments that a click needs to happen in your mind, more so than taking a slow, relaxed approach. Everyone that I've talked to who has had this mindset shift, it did not happen as a slow roll. It was like they realized something and they're like, holy fuck, I need to change because I realize this is the only life I get to live, and I'm a quarter of the way through this and I'm not happy. Like, here's a great example. I don't remember who said the quote, but one of the quotes was, a man has two lives, and the second one starts when he only realizes he has one. And that really resonated with me, because we can go throughout our days every single day and just doing the same thing over and over and over again. And I know our parents or our aunts or people in our family who are older than us have talked about, you know, I really wish I could be young again, right? That's the only thing that they wish, right? And as a child, the one thing that you wish is to be old, make more money, right? And you for sure are going to get that as you're a kid. As soon as you become old and the only thing that you wish at the end of the day on your deathbed is that you could be young again or you could be healthy again, it's something that won't happen, right? So two things to really focus on is to really live in the moment and appreciate things that are happening around you and understand that nothing is guaranteed. There is nothing out there that you own. Every moment that you have is rented. Every memory you have is rented. Like, the mental real estate that you have in your own head right now, it's going to be gone the day that you die. And the memories that you create across the next concurrent 80 years of your life from birth to death, let's say you live till about 80, it's not going to be here forever. But something that is going to be here forever is the memory of you, the life that you were able to create, the impact that you had on other people. And, you know, of course, no matter what you do, if you're a loving and caring father or mother or whatever, mentor to someone, your memory is going to live on, right? Quite a bit. But when you are unhappy with the moments that you live every single day, you wake up and go to a job that you fucking hate, and you sit there and you curse at people in traffic, and you live this total life of negativity and being pissed off that it's not working out in your favor, it's time to make a fucking change. Like, if school is not your jam and you're doing it because you don't know what else to do, you need to put in the work to be able to figure it out. Because I'll tell you right now, dude, you don't need school to become successful, right? How do you become successful in starting a business or being happy, for example? You figure out a problem that people have and you figure out a solution to that problem and you help those people find that solution, right? For me in starting this business, like, yeah, I needed a bit of formal training in the sense of I needed my ISSA certification so that I felt comfortable with helping people, but that allowed me to figure out the problem that people have. And now I can connect them with my brain that has a solution to their problem, and I end up providing value like in the world, right? So what I'm trying to say is you need to put time in the day to be able to work on yourself, because if you don't, 20 years can go down and you're going to wake up one day and you'll be like, what the fuck have I been doing with my life?
I need an air horn for like that whole that was fire. And I think to to just tack onto that a little bit, I mean, because that's going to be fucking hard to say anything to, because that was insanely good. And you guys should really listen back to that. Maybe don't just listen to that once. Go listen to that again if you need to really let that hit home, because that was amazing. And you also need to think too of if you're not living a selfish life, if you're not living a life of everything that you want to do, you're at least trying to do, or the people that you go hang out with aren't the people that like you should hang out with, but you're going there because it makes you look or makes you feel a certain way. You're not living, like, you're kind of being dishonest to them. You're kind of being dishonest to yourself, and you have this persona, and you're not being real. You're not being genuine. And if you think if you sit there and think about that for a minute, that's kind of like, it's kind of not a nice thing to do to people, like be inauthentic just to make them happy. Think about the connections that you have with people that you're either like, you're basically your brother, or they're like family to you. You are as real as hell with them. It doesn't get any more real. You take your life, like you put yourself, that mentality into your life, and you be real as hell with your life and the people around you. Your life, like, everything's going to change instantly. Be real all the time and live authentically. And by being selfish, you can be authentic, because selfishness isn't just going and, going to the grocery store and there's 5 buddies back at your place and you're only grabbing a drink for yourself. Like, that's not selfish. Being selfish, the way we're talking about it, is by taking care of your needs. It is by whatever you need, not what your buddy needs. If you need time and space, you take time and space. If you need to go away for a week somewhere, you need go away from a week to somewhere. If you need to not see your family for a little while, if you need to go be around friends, whatever you need, go and do it. But know if it's a need or if it's a want. So if it's something that you want, how do we distinguish that? I think the easiest way is if it feels like a craving, if it feels like an impulsive, like, oh, this would be really nice right now. If it's like almost like a release, that's a want. But if it's a need, you'll know if it's a need. And if you feel that, where you feel like, okay, I am exhausted, I need some space, that kind of like, okay, whoa, kind of feeling, be selfish. Don't be shy. You will get more out of, like, when you are real, when I'm real with the people that I'm around. I can tell you this for sure. With socially, I had a long journey of figuring out how to be authentic and how to be real, because I was fucking terrified for a long time, because when I was growing up, I didn't have a great go with, or socially. And it took me a long time to figure out that, hey, being authentic is actually way better than saying the thing that you think this person wants to say or wants to hear in order to just like make the conversation go better. I had a long road of figuring this out. And I can tell you for certain right here, right now, the moment you start saying no to things that you don't want to do and yes to the things that you do want to do, and you stand your fucking ground on that, and you live and die on that place where you say yes and no to, your life is going to change. Period. So that's what it comes down to when it comes down to taking care of yourself and saying yes and no to opportunities. That's all it is.
Yeah. Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Like, the sense of overwhelm that you feel, like, man, like, people birdie like their emotions or the shit that they're feeling in, alcohol, gambling, drugs, fucking porn, things that make them feel good.
Mm-hmm.
That they disconnect themselves from reality and themselves, and because they don't want to face the music. But I'd rather sit there and face the music for a few weeks and really start to look internally and try to figure something out, rather than feeling this low anxiety all the time about what's next or what I need to focus on. Because if I don't think about that shit and I just like keep hiding behind walls, that shit's gonna catch up with me at some point. I'm gonna have like some massive freak out. And like, it doesn't, like, you can't hold your head up high as you want it to, when you know that there's things that are broken, like, about not about you in particular, but about systems that you have, whether it be in like saving of money or understanding yourself or what you want to focus on. When you're someone who's sure of yourself and you have integrity behind your word and you always do your best, like it's very hard to go into a conversation not feeling confident, right? When you listen to yourself and you say, I'm going to do fucking 80 minutes of cardio today, and you sit there and you do 81, the level of confidence that you have in conversations with other people, knowing that you do the hard shit, give it your all, and you fucking listen to yourself, like the right side of yourself, you feel fucking good. Like for example, like if I'm not struggling for money, my health is in check, my relationship is good, I know what my next couple of moves are in my business, I know the things that I'm working on with my health, I'm kept up with my family, I'm talking and communicating with the friends that I really hold dear to myself, and everything's going great in my business. I literally could walk around like I am Superman, like so happy, just ecstatic happy all the time, because I have everything like in check. And that comes from getting real with your problems, like we say at the beginning of every single one of these podcasts, and figuring out what the fuck to do next, and not hiding behind some fucking curtain or facade that everything is honky-dory, because if it's not, it's not. And the first part of fixing something is realizing that something is a fucking issue. Oh, I keep burping. I gotta stop drinking so many energy drinks.
You brought 2 today, didn't you?
I know. I am jazzed up right now.
You got 320 milligrams of caffeine coursing through your veins right now.
Yeah, my my caffeine intake like is quite high.
It's a little high. It's a little high.
It's bad. No, it's not. Okay.
It could be worse. There could be sugar in it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I was also gonna say like it definitely could get worse. Like when I feel like anxiety, like moments, but I typically don't, as long as I'm eating and drinking water okay, and like it'll go away eventually. But if I go off of caffeine for like a week and I drink one energy drink, for example, I am fucking like
You're annihilated.
I'm like holding on. I'm like
you're high again.
Oh, it's bad. I took a 1 week side tangent. I took a 1 week like detox from caffeine once, and the moment I had caffeine again, I was not okay. Like my anxiety like symptoms were just like through the roof.
Oh no.
I was just like, fuck, I can never have caffeine again, because like it literally makes me anxious every time I have it, even in like half dosages and shit. So I just stopped. Like I'm just like, no, I can't go through. This is probably a really bad way to think about this. I don't want to go through not having caffeine in my life again, because I know at some point I'm going to have caffeine again. And I don't want it to fuck me up as bad as it did that one time where I went off for a week and then had like 80 milligrams of caffeine and I was just like beaming.
Yeah, I mean, if it sounds like it's an all or nothing thing for you.
Yeah, it's stupid, but it's the way it is for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We digress though.
Yeah.
But going back to the needs, I mean, let's start with the financial needs.
Mhm.
So, or how to be selfish with your finances. And guys, we touched a little bit on this in the last episode. So if you want a little bit more on how to really go in depth with that, check that out too, because that'd be a good primer for this. But for being selfish, I mean, we kind of touched on this a little bit as far as like restaurants and decreasing spending, but just put your money where you know that if it goes there, it is the best, it is going to help you in the future in some way. It's not going to make you happy now. It's not going to be for your friends to make them feel like you're cool or something like that. It's not going to be on something useless, not going to be dumb shit. It's going to be stuff that you know that looking back a week from now, or even 5 years or a year from now, depending on how far you're making a decision for in the future, that when you look back on that financial decision, you'll be so happy you made that. And you know what? You might make decisions that are poor, but you thought they were the best. And you'll learn a lesson from them. And that lesson is going to be just as valuable as the money that you tried to spend to get you somewhere else. Because money can't buy you lessons, but it can in a way. If your money, the way you spend your money and what happens after you spend your money is where your lessons are learned. But you have to take that initial risk, not even risk, the decision to do something for yourself before anyone else. And if you have, let's say you have $10,000 in the bank, you want to start a business. it's going to cost you $8,000 to start that business. That leaves you $2,000 left over. Well, that probably means you're not going out with friends for a while. That probably means that you're not going to go buy that new thing. You're not going to have all your Netflix and Hulu and Amazon Prime. You're not going to be ordering stuff on Amazon Prime. You're going to be chilling and you're not going to be buying stuff. And when you hold yourself accountable to that, you're going to be way better off in a year.
Mm-hmm.
If you stop yourself, be like, maybe I'll do it next year when I've got $12,000. Well, you know what? Maybe something happens in the economy and you never get to work again, or you get injured and you never get to work again. I know these are extreme, but even something smaller than that can completely change the outcome of the possibility of you having $12,000 for next year or $14,000 to be better off.
Yeah, and we saw that this year with the C word, right?
Mm-hmm.
We saw that with the
beer bug.
Huh?
The beer bug.
The beer bug?
I can't remember where I heard that online.
The beer bug. The big Coroni baloney.
I like that.
So many people lost their jobs, and the amount of entrepreneurs that came out of losing their jobs is insane.
Mm-hmm.
Like, again, me included. I didn't think I'd start this if I wasn't fucking pushed to the edge to do it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Another thing is we just finished the Christmas season, so a stupid amount of Christmas gifts for people that you know you don't have the money for. Like, pick 5 people. Like, honestly, I don't know what it is, but when I was a kid, yeah, I loved getting gifts. I absolutely loved it. Right. Mm-hmm. And as the years went by and the older I got less and less gifts because like people stopped giving a shit about me as soon as I turned like 7. Because like the new baby in the family would come and it'd be like my sister's kid. I'm like, I hate you, Clyde.
Damn you.
But if you're operating on a budget, you don't have to go balls to the wall buying like $300 worth of gifts for your significant other and then $200 for your mom and then this and that and put yourself in financial harm because it's the Christmas season. Fucking get some cards, write something nice in them for them. You know, tell them how much you appreciate them. Honestly, I'll be so honest. If my girlfriend got a card for me that was like, took a couple of days to write and I went through all my emotions and how I feel about her, she would enjoy that more than any physical thing I could probably get her. Like, things like that will mean so much more to another person. Maybe unless I bought Aslan like a fucking house or like a dog. But like that.
Yeah, it's a tough one.
That one's a tough one. But a card talking about how much you really appreciate that person, and you must appreciate that person to some degree if you're going to get them a gift. Go with that, dude. It saves you so much money. Like, you don't have to go out and buy a fucking exorbitant card for it. You just write your emotions about how you feel about that person. I promise you, they'll cherish it a lot more than the $15 bottle of wine that you're going to get about 10 of your friends and that are going to drink it and be like, yeah, I got some wine, woohoo. But it's like, whatever. It's just a whatever gift.
They won't remember it.
Exactly. Other ways that you can be selfish about your finances. Again, don't buy dumb shit. We talked about this in the past podcast. So again, you don't need to spend a stupid amount of money going out with friends, restaurant visits, etc. Like, just be chill. Invest your money in the future so you can't touch it. Again, moving money into different accounts, rainy day funds, TFSAs, RRSPs, bonds, things that you can put money away for a long period of time that'll help grow your wealth in the future.
Yeah, absolutely. And this one's going to be a little tougher because for a lot of people, I think you may have a difficult time with this. I know that I did for a while. I'm sure Keith did. I'm sure everyone that is going from a place of I'm here and I want to be here is going to go through this. And this is changing friends or stopping hanging out with people who either bring negative energy to your life or impact your financial decisions negatively. That's going to be a real tough one because some people who you're very close to, they might even be like basically family. You may have to see them less if it's best for you. And if you feel like that is taking care of yourself better by seeing them less, you may have to do that because what's best for you is what's best for you. And you have to remember that your needs come first. End of story. End of fucking story. So if that means not seeing someone as much, it's going to hurt. It really fucking is. It's hurt me. I'm sure it's hurt Keith. I'm sure it's hurt you. and it will sting. But you know what? They may respect you more, but even better, you will feel so much better about yourself looking back, because especially when you've made a change that was successful, you made a change and you saw yourself grow from it, you're going to understand that you still love that person as a friend or family or whatever, but they're not as much in your life. And you both have that understanding and that respect. And when you see each other, you know what? It might be even better because you haven't seen each other in a long time. You got a lot to catch up on. Maybe they grew up a little bit and stopped doing their lifestyle stuff or whatever they were doing. But really the friends thing is, and hanging out with people who are not impacting your finances positively or influencing you even. That's a big one. If you're in the room with people who are always saying like, crypto's stupid and don't invest in real estate's a scam and like just enjoy the moment, live day to day, whatever, just be happy with what you have. I mean, like, okay, sure. Yeah. I mean, the day to day part, you try to be, but like those people who are, when you want to go that way and they're pointing you back down that way, those people are going to negatively impact your life. Think about a lot of the things that you do on a day to day basis aren't necessarily your ideas. Like if you think all the way back to when you were a kid, the ideas and things that you do that you don't even realize are ideas that were planted in your head from way back in the day. And those ideas, it's not like you just like, clicked them in and accepted it, stamped it on your head and said, yeah, okay, I'm living with this the rest of my life. It just kept going in and kept going in and kept going in. And next thing you know, you believe it. You don't even realize you believe it, but it's not your idea anymore. It never has been, but you carry it with you. So the sooner you can get away from ideas that are not yours and that don't serve you, the sooner you can live based on the ideals and the values that you want to live by. That's it.
Yeah. So here's a great analogy for this. You have 3 types of friends. Let's say you're lost out at sea and you're in a boat. Let's not say you're in a boat. Let's say you're in like a life raft. All right. 3 types of friends. You have a friend that is a motor. This friend is someone that will drive you forward closer to shore, help you and propel you forward, right? The next type of friend that you have is a buoy. This friend is very neutral. He keeps you afloat. He doesn't really get you anywhere, but he's not negative or drags you down, or he's not someone who really pushes you forward. He's just there, right? Still great people to have in your life, right? People that you enjoy spending time with. You talk about ideas. You're like, oh, yeah, no, I totally understand how you feel about that. Like, that's a really cool idea. Like, I think this though, right? And then there's the other people, the anchors, right? The people who drag you down. You tell them an idea and the first thing they say is, that's fucking stupid, dude. Why the fuck would you want to do that? Right? Or like, maybe you want to become a coach or something, or like a fitness coach or something. And the first thing they say is like, what the fuck? No, dude, that's so dumb. Like, how are you going to make money on that? There's going to be people in your life like that no matter what. Let's say you want to become a nail tech, right? You go through a little 6-month course to be a nail tech. And people at your work are like, oh, that's so stupid. Why would you do that? There's so many of those already. So dumb. Dude, fuck you. Let me do the things that I want to do in my life and stop letting those people influence you and stop listening to them. So 3 types of friends. Literally, pick like friends, rate them out, put them in a category. Are they pushing you forward? Are they helping you achieve the dreams that you have for yourself? Are they very neutral? Are they supportive, but they're not like really pushing you? They're just like, fucking love you, dude. Or are they people calling you fucking stupid or saying every idea that you have is dumb or like telling you what to do and it doesn't align with your actual values? Okay. Put them into those categories. And you don't have to cut out each person that's an anchor. You just spend a lot less time with them. Mm-hmm. You become a lot less readily available. Oh, I'm throwing a party at my house. Can't make it. I gotta go walk my fish. Or, I'm so sorry. My grandma just, flew to Russia and I have to help her through the airport. I don't know.
Anything.
Literally anything.
Just anything.
You don't have to fucking call them and be like, hey man, you're really an anchor in my life and not in a positive sense. You actually like drag me down. You're like a crab in a bucket and I don't like you and I'm going to spend less time with you. Thanks. You don't have to say that shit.
Wouldn't recommend it.
No, don't. You're going to piss a lot of people off. There's actually someone on Instagram that, it's really crazy. I went to high school with him and he went through his whole following list and he said to a bunch of people that he unfollowed, he said, hey, long time no talk. I just want to let you know that I'm unfollowing a bunch of people that I don't find are really like positive influences in my life or pushing me forward or that I haven't talked to in a while. So don't feel bad that I unfollowed you. I hope you're doing well. Right. I'm like, that's super interesting. And this is such an ego kick, like in a good way, but I checked my Instagram and he still followed me and I didn't get that message. I'm like, oh wow, cool. He finds me positive and motivational. That's really cool. But the person that got this message was pissed. She's like, oh, what the fuck? Like, why do you have to tell me that? It's so dumb, blah, blah, blah. But I mean, if he feels that way, he feels that way. And like, did you talk with him enough to like really give two fucks about whether he followed you or not? Or was it just because he said that message and your ego got kicked by it? So like, if you're going through this exercise, just like be less available to them so you don't disappoint a fuckload of people.
Yeah, you don't need to declare it. I mean, if that's the way you need to do it, I mean, go. I'm sure you'll learn a lesson or two by doing that, but wouldn't recommend it. Just like what he said, just make a list. And you should actually do this. If you struggle with this and you know there's people in your life that are bringing you negativity or negative or bad ideas or just influencing you in a negative way, and there's a lot of them maybe, or that's maybe unfortunately the core of your friend group in an extreme case, actually make the list. Put the names down and try and figure out which of your friends are your best influences and who are not your best influences.
One thing I'll say too is this. Oh man, I'm losing my train of thought. What was I just supposed to say? It was supposed to be, what was it about? Come on. Come back to me. What were we just talking about? Friends and relationships and
Instagram and talking about thank you for or unfollowing.
What the fuck? Right. Okay,
we're back.
Okay, we're back. So challenge or something. Do this. Like actually fucking do this. Pick something that you unequivocally want to do with your life and follow through with it. Again, start a business, start eating healthier, start training more. Do things that make you happy, regardless of what anybody else thinks. All right. You're not going to ask anyone if you think you should do this thing. You're going to follow your fucking heart and you're going to follow through. Okay. The people that stop seeing you, or the people who show up in your life a lot less because you are changing the way that you are, they're not meant to be there in the first place. Right. People are an ever evolving computer that learns more and changes their lifestyle habits depending on their situation, etc. If you decide that you want to become a world-class swimmer and you now have to hang out with your friends less and you go out less and you start training a lot more, etc., there's going to be a group of people that are pissed off that you're doing this and they're like, what the fuck, you're so dumb, like blah 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 blah, and they stop showing up in your life as much. But then they're going to be the people that are completely supportive and say like, I believe in you, you got this. I still hope to hang out. Just let me know when you have time. And they will understand that you're busy. The people that are meant to be in your life, no matter what major change you go through, the people that are still there are meant to be there. And those who are not meant to be there. All right. Think about it. 7 years ago, I bet you guys had all completely different friend groups, right? 7 years ago, where was I? 21 years old. I hung out with all of my friends from back home a lot, right? I had lots of different friends. I had a bunch of different groups, party groups, gym groups, blah, 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 blah. In Victoria, I dead ass on my life. I hang out with, there's no one that I see more than once a week other than my roommates. But the person I see the most is Steven or motherfucker. Christian Kaba. Christian Kaba is another online fitness coach who does the stuff that I want to do, right? These people come into my life because they start to align with the things that I want, right? I want to be able to have a successful podcast. So does Steven. So we see each other a lot. Christian Kaba is also a successful online fitness coach, and so am I. So I want to see him a lot more because that's what I'm into. It's very hard at some point to be able to hang out with people who just do completely different shit from you, right? Think about the friends that you have that don't go to work with you. Like, how often do you fucking see them? They just don't line up with your life as much anymore, and that's totally okay. Okay, let's kind of move over into becoming selfish with your health. We're going to rapid fire these a little bit because I think a lot of these are a given. Mm-hmm. Being selfish with your health, stop partying every weekend just because your friends do. and you think that they won't like you if you don't go out with them. Exactly what we just talked about before. If they don't anymore, they weren't good friends and they shouldn't be in your life. Anyway, next thing, I'll let Steven take the last like 3 here, but buying whole foods, if it makes you feel good, even though it might be more slightly expensive, you're treating with your body with respect. You're feeding it good nutrients, and anything to improve your quality of life and health, whether it be through learning or foods or spending money on gym equipment, all of that stuff is stuff that is going to pay its dividends down the road, right? Organic foods, feeding and nourishing yourself properly, understanding how to make recipes. It's all stuff and value that you're going to take for the rest of your life where you're not going to feel stuck with eating the same shit all the time.
Yeah. And you know what, as a little to touch on the food thing, it doesn't take a whole lot to make something real tasty. Depends on what your tolerance is for variety, but for the most part, it doesn't take a lot. And between Keith and many other guys that are, on Instagram, either in Victoria or BC, like Kelowna, there's a lot of guys you could look to that make very high quality, nutritious stuff with very high protein that are macro friendly. It doesn't take that much work. You just got to want to do it and actually dedicate some time to doing it.
Mm-hmm.
But, and one other thing before I touch on the next point here too, is if you are someone who eats fast food a few times a week, and you also cook and you have groceries, that extra, let's say $40-50, because maybe let's say one of them's like a sit down restaurant or something crazy like that, they go $50 in a week, that $50 extra a week. Imagine if you bought $50 in Whole Foods, how much more you could get with that, how much more chicken, how much more vegetables, how much more, anything that would be better for you is going to make you feel so much better in the long run. Like, you need to justify the money you're spending poorly for what you need to, or for what you actually need is what it is. And also need to make sure that you don't fall in the trap of just lifting weights. Cause I mean, it's hard because you go online too and you see lots of guys that are, just fucking shredded, like this beast of a human right here.
Not right now.
Okay. Or just fucking mountains, and you look at them, you're like, damn, I would like to be that. But at the same time, you're like, I just need to be healthy. And that just going for a run, going for a bike ride, lifting some weights, like you don't have to be competing or doing anything of that sort or anything extreme to be healthy. You need to figure out a routine, figure out something that actually works for you and stick to it, whether it's a little bit of cardio and a little bit of weights or mostly cardio or whatever. You need to make sure that you're just doing what makes you feel good and do it for you. And make a specific time per day that you're not going to miss stuff. Because it's really easy to miss stuff when you've forgotten you have to do it and then it's 9 p.m. at night and you got to get up at 5 a.m. in the morning and you haven't done your workout or cardio or one or the other. You're probably going to say, yeah, okay, I'll just do it tomorrow. And now if that happens week after week after week or day after day after day after day, you're probably not going to do that. So if you allot a time a day, let's say it's even 45 minutes, 30 minutes per day that you're saying, okay, I don't care what I have to do during this time. It's what is going on at this time. I am taking 45 minutes to do my cardio or do my workout, and nothing is getting in the way of that. That's putting your needs first and making sure that you're actually getting in what you need for your health. And eat before you go to a social gathering. If you need to, if there's a big thing going on down at Earl's and you know that all the stuff on the menu is outside of the scope of what you want for your diet and for your health, or what even just what makes you feel good. Because maybe you go to Earl's and it's not the worst macro food, but you come out of there and you just like your gut feels weird or whatever. Eat before you go, prepare and set yourself up for success to go there, enjoy your friends, not have to go and eat something that you know is going to make you feel like shit. And then you can come back and you can feel happy with yourself. You still feel good. You still got to see your friends, but you held yourself to your own standards and your own values. And you kind of set a boundary in a way too, right? For yourself and for them. They know that you're not going to go ahead and you're not going to just cave to their whims. So they respect the fact that you're working hard on yourself, and you might even influence them. Mm-hmm. That's the thing too. So that's really going to tie in together a lot of what it means to be selfish for your health. And I mean, we could really elaborate on all sorts of things all day long,
forever.
but realistically, it comes down to those few core elements, really. Mm-hmm. So next up though, we're going to talk about mental health and what that means.
Yeah. I think the first big one that I can think about is that if no one's read the 5 a.m. Club, first thing you got to do is fucking read that book. It genuinely changed my life. I've never read a book. I think that was my first personal development book I had ever read. And it fucked me up beyond belief in like the best way. I remember crying, like just like so inspired by this thing. That I just wanted to like do everything. I'm like, yeah, I'm going to wake up at 5. I'm going to, do my 20-20-20. I'm going to do my power hour. Like I like my whole.
I remember when you started that actually. I think.
Yeah. I'm going to do everything, man. I'm going to do it all. As I learned, you need to be able to take all of these pieces of advice and like line it up with what makes the most sense for you. But the major thing you have to do when it comes to being selfish with your mental health, is spending time with yourself every day. And this doesn't mean watching YouTube or sitting, playing video games, because that's like, time with yourself, but time where you can genuinely like think about your life and who you are as a person and things that you want to become, and the emotions that come with that. Writing out again daily gratitudes and affirmations. Like when you continuously tell yourself that you're a fucking champion or you're the best, or like mine are always like business based. So I literally will always write down like I'm the fucking king. Like I will always write down I'm the fucking king, and I come into my day with so much more like energy and like fuck, I can't think of a better word, but like spunk. Like I'm just so ready to take on the day when I say this shit to myself, because you start to believe it after a while. And being selfish with your mental health, like there's no one that you have to substitute that time for. Like by you being selfish, by spending time with yourself, you're not saying to your girlfriend like, hey, I got to spend some time alone. Like you have the ability to spend time alone. It's whether or not you decide what you're going to, like whether or not you decide you're going to do something productive with that time or not. For example, if you're taking like a quote unquote break, dude, writing out a journal entry or goals that you have for yourself for the week, every single week, this shit compounds over time. And like, my mentor, Brian, he's been doing this for 9 years. 9 years straight. He has not missed gratitudes or affirmations, meditates every fucking day, writes down goals in his phone. And every single year, he makes more and more money. He has more and more success. And it's driven by his ability to work on himself.
Damn.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's so true. I mean, like when it comes to your mental health, you need to stay committed and make sure that you are taking the time, like he said, to reflect and figure out what it is. If you need to get up in the morning, you need to write down, praise yourself for a moment and get yourself fired up, or continuously tell yourself the ideas that you want to hold in your head to get it to sink in. It's going to take time. It's not going to be an immediate process. And it's going to be something that you do over months or maybe a year or two. And you're replacing old ideas as well too. So this isn't just like planting a new seed. This is taking your gardening tools, digging out the old shit, and then making a spot for these new ideas to sit. And when you take time to actually do this, you have a greater chance of that seed growing and blossoming into a tree that is going to actually give you fruit back, and the fruit that you want, that's going to bring you forward for the rest of your life.
The next few that we have here are stuff we've already talked about before. So, cutting out negative people in your life that don't add value. So the whole anchor, buoy, like motor system. Stop trying to please everyone. Stop being a people pleaser. You're a people pleaser because you choose to be, and it's not a good thing. The whole idea, like when people say they're a procrastinator or a people pleaser or they're lazy, it's the story that you tell yourself is like there's no genetic trait that's allowing you to be more lazy or more of a people pleaser. You have the ability to change any habit or way that you are with consistent work. And if you call yourself a people pleaser and it's to the detriment of yourself, like if you're a people pleaser and you're always trying to like apologize for shit and make time for everybody, but you can't and can't follow up. Now you're untrustworthy because you're not being able to stay true to your word. You're letting people walk all the fuck over you, that you're going to get less out of life because you're known as that person who gets walked all over. It's not a good thing, right? Being selfish for yourself is being able to say fucking no sometimes. Or when someone asks you something ridiculous, And they're like, oh, can you please like pick me up from, this party? It's like, 2 cities away. Like, hey, sorry, Katrina, like, I just don't want to do that. Like, I love you, dog, but I just really don't want to do that. You got to stand up for yourself, because if you don't, people are going to walk all the fuck over you. And that is not a good thing. Again, stand up for yourself when you feel like you're being taken advantage of, right? Someone's continuously asking you for money and they never pay you back. Oh, dude, I'll totally pay you back like next week. Like, yeah, you borrowed $10 from me last week, bro. Can I have that back, please? Right? Oh, no, you can't pay me yet? Okay, next week? Yeah, okay, well, I'll just, I'll hold off on giving you any more money until you can pay me back for the first time. That's what pisses me off. When you lend people money and they haven't paid you back in a while, and the first thing that you think in your head is like, oh, like, I know that they owe me money. I don't want to keep bringing it up. Bruh, if you need the money back, it's your money.
Mm-hmm.
You say, hey, can I get that money back? Yeah, I can get it to you sometime next week. Yeah, what time next week?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, probably on the weekend. Yeah, what day of the week? Saturday. All right, what time? 5? Okay, great. I'm expecting e-transfer Saturday, 5 o'clock. Does that sound good? Great. I'm not going to follow up with you anymore about it. I would like my money back. Thank you. Feel free to ask me for more money, but if we keep delaying this process, then I'm going to be upset. Stand up for your fucking self, bro.
Yep. Being direct with your life is going to get you what you want in the end. And it's going to make people respect you more too. And the people that you are direct with are going to treat you the way you should be treated when you're acting accordingly. You're taking care of your own needs. They're going to know that you're a firm individual and that essentially they're not going to walk all over you. And therefore, the thing that you need to get is always going to be the outcome, because you're not going to be walked all over. You're not going to be prevented from doing the thing that you need to do for yourself, and someone's not going to be in the way from that. Mm-hmm. Essentially, as hard as it might be to learn, you need to fucking do it. Yeah. And it starts with the little things. It doesn't have to be calling your buddy that owes you $100 when you're both dead broke and starting there, but it can be saying no to going to a gathering. It can be saying no to going to a certain situation. It can then lead to asking for money, but you got to start somewhere. And it's powerful to start and see what happens with your mental health over time. It's like we've been saying, it's a slow process, but you start with step 1, and then there's step 2, and then there's step 3, and then there's step 4, and you just keep walking in that direction, and it'll become so natural. You'll forget you're walking. Mm-hmm. You'll forget. Mm-hmm. So, and one thing I want to say, because all that we've said is, I think, really, really cool. And what all of it touches on is the underlying premise of what even is mind, money, muscle. Taking care of your financial health, your mental health, and your physical health. That is essentially a mind, money, muscle life, where you're putting your needs first in all of these situations. These are the pillars of our lives that we can always control or work to bettering. Most things outside of that, we can lose control of. And while there are certain situations that maybe in our lives we can lose control of for maybe our mental health or our physical health or our financial health temporarily, more often than not, we can always have some kind of control over what's going on. And we can always be working to grow and better ourselves. And then eventually, when we have our needs taken care of, we can then do things for other people from a place of not needing anything. And we can make a better world. We can make a better community. We can make better decisions for ourselves, for others. If everyone does this and gets to a point where we don't need anything from anyone, or as many people that can do this do, I think our world will change very quickly. Mm-hmm. Think about the next generation. Then you've learned this. You've taken care of yourselves. Your kids now see you as a role model where you do things for yourself that also translate to being able to help other people better. They're going to live that life too. They're going to want to do the same thing that mom or dad does. Mm-hmm. And then generation after generation after generation, we're going to have people who have more firm beliefs, who stand with their values, and, in my opinion at least, a very healthy society. Mm-hmm. On all fronts. So That's really what we're all trying to say, what we're trying to say with all of this. Mm-hmm. And why. Because in my opinion, it's fucking important. Yeah. It should be a fundamental aspect of how you look at your day-to-day life and your future as well. I think you'll see a difference by just even starting on this path. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I think from my perspective, the idea that I always want to be able to put out there is, be always be confident in the things that you do, regardless if you don't feel confident doing them. Because you're going to go a lot more farther, or you're going to go a lot more far with the conviction in your voice and in the things that you do. One of my favorite fucking quotes is from my football coach, and it's like, or my old football coach, and it's like, there's a difference between scratching your ass and tearing yourself a new one, or something like that, or ripping yourself a new asshole. And I think this breaks back down to the premise that, like, if you take full control of your life and stop living in this place of like you're trapped in this like little box of like the things that you can do and the beliefs that you have, and like, oh shit, everyone's talking about, fuck. And I don't want to get into vaccine mandates and shit like that, but like, fuck, I think everyone should have a voice, an opinion on the things that happen in the world. I completely agree. And if you don't give a fuck about that shit, you should be able to voice that too. Like, here, I'm just going to end this conversation here, but man, when I go on Instagram and I see like one side of my Instagram being like, end the mandates, like, fuck, like, end the mandates, like, totally fair. You could say that. It makes sense. Like, I'm pretty fucking sick of it too. It's ridiculous. And then there's the other side who are like majority, who are like nurses or whoever, saying like, mandates save lives. This is not about you. This is about them. Fucking awesome. Great. Good idea. I completely agree. Like, you're entitled to your own opinion. But what pisses me off is the people who say, like, on their Instagram stories, like, by not speaking up, like, by not speaking up, you're a fucking sheep, and like, you don't, how does it fucking go? People will say on like their Instagram stories, like, if you're not standing up for vaccine mandates, like, ending, you're part of the problem too. It's like, if you do, you lose, or if you don't, you lose. Like, it's a fucking lose-lose situation. It's like, if you don't stand up for something, you stand for nothing, people are still gonna fucking hate you about that. I think that's bullshit, because if you don't care, that's still something you're standing for. Like, for example, for me, am I sick of vaccine mandates? 100 fucking %. Like, I'm over it. Does it affect my life that much? Not really, because I'm vaccinated and like, I'm fine. I don't really care. It's not my life that it's affecting. Would it be cool if all of them ended? I didn't need to pull out my vaccine passport every single time, just out of like pure fucking convenience, because like, I'm like, have to pull my wallet out and I gotta pull my phone out. Yeah, sure. Like, if vaccine mandates ended, great. In Steven's case, like, he wants to be able to fucking go out and do shit in the world because he has a strong opinion and belief on that. And then there's another side of the argument that just doesn't give a single fuck, which is totally fine, because that's your opinion. Like, if someone comes up to me and starts talking to me about baseball, I'm going to be very quick to be like, hey man, I don't know anything about baseball, and I'm not going to put any type of like value into this conversation. Like, I don't care. Like, I don't care. Like, stop talking with me about this. What I'm trying to say here is, stand up for the things that you believe in. Be okay with having conviction about the things that you believe, and just be fucking confident in the life that you want to live. Don't let anyone else's opinions change you, unless you really, really want to take both sides of the argument, take a look, and then determine like a final verdict. I know I'm going on such a fucking tangent here, but like, I don't know why that popped into my head, but for some reason, like, we keep talking about how to like live your life with like, authority and conviction, etc. But you not giving a fuck about something is still conviction. If you truly believe that in your heart, that you're like, for example, if you don't want to save any money and you're just like very happy with the way that you are, and you truly 100% without a doubt unequivocally believe that, great. Then stop listening to people who keep telling you to save money. Just be like, hey man, I like living the life that I do. Thanks. I know you're trying to fucking help me, but I don't give a fuck. Stand up for yourself. No matter what, stand up for what the fuck you believe in.
I agree. And I would agree on a lot of that. I think that, the biggest thing is stay firm on where the ground that you stand on. If you really firmly believe on something, stick to it. Mm-hmm. Also keep an open mind, because chances are you're going to be fucking wrong about something. Yep. And if you are firm but yet open, people are going to respect you.
Mm-hmm.
I know the people I respect the most are people that stand their ground, but will listen to me.
Mm-hmm.
People that I don't respect are people that stand their ground and tell me to fuck off.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to hear my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Don't be that person.
Yeah.
Be the person that will listen, make a decision, and then say, this is what I'm doing. This is where I stand. Final.
Yeah. And your decision to not care is also a decision, which is completely fine.
Yep. 100%.
Yeah. If I start chatting you up about basketball and you're like, dude, I don't give a fuck, I respect you completely, and I will stop talking with you about basketball. So as a quick recap, as we kind of got way off tangent there, like as soon as you speak COVID, like it just gets...
It's hard not to, man. It's hard.
Yeah, because we've been living for it for so long. So recap, be selfish with what it is that you need to grow. All right. Take the time necessary to be able to be selfish with what you need, right? Spend time with yourself. Be selfish with your finances. Be selfish with saying no. Be selfish with the people that you surround yourself with. And you're going to grow into a better, more optimal life that you'll be a lot happier with if you're in a place that you're unhappy with. All right. Second thing is always put yourself first. The person who matters the most in your life, I don't give a fuck what you say, is you, right? You live your life, one body, one soul. It's just you.
That's all you got.
You matter more than your friend. You matter more than your mother, and you matter more than your child. I truly believe that. It's very hard to, you have to take care of yourself first if you want to be able to start caring for another person, right? You need to be in a place where you're happy with yourself, because if you aren't, you're pouring that same negativity into whoever you're taking care of and that you care about, significant other, whoever it is.
How can you save someone who's drowning if you don't know how to swim?
Exactly. Yeah, I fucking love that.
Mm-hmm.
Say no to anything that doesn't align with your path or your why in life. And dude, it's so fucking true. Like, every time I've said yes to something that doesn't align with what I want to do, it's because I'm hiding from something. And I know it doesn't seem like fuck, that's so stupid. Maybe you just want to go out and have fun. Yeah, but like, if that's the thing that you really, really want to do, great. But really look deep down inside and be like, is there anything else that I know I should be focusing on, that I'm just trying to cover it up with the fact that I'm going to go and have a few drinks tonight?
Mm-hmm. Or
right?
what is it about that thing? Is it you want to go to this because you feel good? Well, do you then feel good because it makes you happy? And then are you doing that because you are, like he said, you're covering up for something deep down that you haven't figured out in yourself yet to deal with on your own? That is a need that you haven't met. And you might find that taking care of something about yourself first completely alleviates the need to go and do whatever it is that made you happy in that moment that was kind of destructive to your life. So
yeah, I love it.
I think that's pretty much it. That's all, guys.
Yeah, that is it. So thank you guys so much for tuning into this episode of the Fit Mind Theory.
Oh, he went there.
So I had an old podcast, and anyone who's watching or listening to this, you guys fucking know. Like, I've said that outro 121 times. So it's very hard to switch up my headspace and say Mind, Money, Muscle podcast. Thank you guys so much for tuning into this episode of the Mind, Money, Muscle podcast. If you guys found value with this, I would absolutely love you could share this to your Instagram story. Tag us at Mind, Money, Muscle podcast on Instagram to let us know that you're joining the conversation. Last thing I do want to tell you is there's a $500 cash dollar bills y'all giveaway. All you have to do is, like I said, share this to your Instagram story. Give us a quick tag. Let us know what you liked about the show, what you didn't like about the show. We'll keep the conversations flowing. If you guys have any ideas for what you want us to talk about, just please let us know. And we're going to be here to stay. So we'll talk to you guys soon. Peace out. Oh, sick COVID conversation.
Dude, it's so hard with COVID stuff to like not go on fucking rants, because like everything there's almost like so many avenues you have to like cover in order for like a statement to have the right amount of validity. You know, there's so, yeah, it's
so, you're right. The whole validity.